And I am live, I hope. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sound. Let me know if I sound okay. I had to change up my microphone because I have misplaced my other. Well, I know where it is, I think. Move it up a little bit. I can go back to my wired mic because my other mic is indisposed at the moment. So let me know how it sounds. I might have to reposition it. Helps if I click on the comments. Hello, everybody. Welcome to. Hey, Greg. Daniel. All right. So, okay, good. Good to know I sound good. Well, relatively speaking. Hello, Raymond. Got some of my buddies in the chat. Good to know. I must pay well. The check cleared. Sorry about that. I was doing some work earlier outside in the 100-degree heat, and so I think my body's catching up, and so I need to drown myself in water. 88. 88. Yeah. No. Fortunately, I have air conditioner now in the workshop. Real powerful one, so it's not too bad inside. I've had it running all day to keep it cool because I know I'll be in and out doing stuff. Austin, I heard you really well at Nats. That's good. Good. Congratulations. Oh, well, hello, Adam. Listening to the Oshkosh. I didn't. Actually, somebody sent me a link to the some of the stuff for going into Oshkosh. Funny you mentioned Oshkosh. We'll talk about that. And I know it's a madhouse. I really wanted to listen to it. I just didn't get a chance to, and then I got distracted. Maybe I'll just see if I can find some recordings tonight or something to put me to sleep. But yeah, I can only imagine flying into Oshkosh. I know it's. I've seen some videos of it before, and that's not something I'd want to do unless I'm with somebody who's done it a few times before, because it looks just absolutely insane. Multiple people landing on the same runway at the same time. Just make sure you pick the right color dot. So I can only imagine. I did see some screen captures of how everybody's lined up, and it's just absolutely amazing that they don't have a midair every 2 seconds. Much appreciation to the people that fly in and out of there. But people get in. Yeah, I got a few people. So anyways, I thought I'd, speaking of Oshkosh, I thought I'd do a live show because I'm going to be pretty busy in the next couple of weeks. And and one of the things I will be going to is Oshkosh. I will be at Oshkosh later this week, as a matter of fact, for a few days. I'll be meeting up with my buddies Lee and Terry. And if you listen to my other podcast, the RC Roundtable, you'll know that this will be the first time all three of us will be actually in the same physical location in quite some time. And so hopefully we'll be able to do some sort of podcast or something while I'm there on the RC Roundtable. Go to rcroundtable.com and subscribe, check us out, and keep a listen for us. I might do a quick live shot for this channel if I can do it, if I have good signal. A lot of people there, so I can't guarantee anything. Or I might do a pre-recorded thing and just upload it later. We'll see. But I've been to Oshkosh before, but I haven't been there in quite a while. It's probably been, I think 2014 was the last time I was there. So that's pushing 5 years. No, wait a minute. That's 8 years? Wow. Holy crap. So anyways, it should be fun. Now it's interesting that this time, last time I was there, I don't think they had what they have now, and that is the AMA will be there, and they will be flying model airplanes. And so I don't think it's all day. I think just in the afternoon or early evenings, there's a section where they can fly when they stop flying the full-scale stuff. you can fly model airplanes. So there'll be an AMA area booth, and I'll be helping out. So if anybody's at Oshkosh, you're welcome to, if you see me, by all means, come up and say hello. I don't mind it at all. And if you're in the RC airplane area, maybe you get to fly something. And the pilots, I can imagine. There's probably a lot of frustrations. Probably the pilots and the controllers probably all pissed off at each other for various reasons. So that's why. That is why I don't think I'd want to do that. I'll fly commercial or drive up there and have my fun. Although it'd be neat to fly in once with somebody knows what they're doing. That would be kind of cool. And if I survive, I'll consider that a bucket list item. But anyways, I look forward to going to Oshkosh. It's always fun. I do have a pilot's license for gliders, so I do have a full-scale pilot's license. So I do have an interest in full-scale stuff, and that's not necessarily a place to look at a lot of glider stuff, but I like a aircraft and appreciation for it. So it should be a lot of fun. And if you've never been to Oshkosh, I highly recommend it at least once. It's real neat. It's huge, lots of cool stuff, rare aircraft. You can get to sit in all kinds of aircraft because it's sort of part exposition, part air show, part hanging out. It's huge, ultralight areas, seaplane stuff. And there's a museum there for some real interesting things. I remember the last time I was there, I got to meet Jim Beatty, who was the designer of the BD5 and BD10. He's got a storied history of stuff. And unfortunately, this was just a year or two before he died. So I thought that was pretty neat. And ironically, it was neat when I met him. I was talking to him. He had a booth or whatever. He had an aircraft he was pushing, a high wing, kind of a nice little high wing. And at that very same time, somebody was flying a BD5J in the background. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. I'm going to talk to the guy, and his one of his designs is still flying. And I got to see a BD5 last year at a local air show. A guy had moved into town, had a BD5J. Man, it's a little teeny little bugger. But I always like him. I have a couple of BD5s. I got an EDF BD5 hanging over there, 90 mil. It sounds fantastic. Flies really neat. So what other events are coming up on your schedule? All right. So Match Made RC. I mentioned Oshkosh. I'll be at Oshkosh for a few days this coming week. After that, I will be going to the IPMS Nationals in Texas, right outside of San Antonio. I always forget the town that it's in. So I'll be going to that. That puts us into August. Always got to remember. There's a few, usually, I don't think I'll be traveling too much after Oshkosh outside of Texas. I'm going to check my calendar here. What's coming in August. There's a Richardson swap meet that's up in Dallas area coming on the 19th. I'm debating going to that. I'm not sure. I'll probably decide at the last second. The Austin Rail Control Club is having an electric fly-in that I will probably try to make it out there. Normally they have it on the same day as the New Waverly electric fly-in, and I always go to the New Waverly one. But since they finally decided to move it to a different day, I probably will try to venture out there. It's a couple-hour drive for me and hang out with those guys. I always like to go to electric events. Also, Bomber Field coming up September 16th. I think it's the 30-something anniversary, 35th anniversary. So they're having some special stuff out there as well. Yes, September 2nd. Sorry, that's the Austin Rail Control Electric Fly-In on September 2nd. And let's see, after that is the best electric flying event, New Waverly, Texas, October 7th. I always go to that one. I go camp out at that one. So that's what's coming up in the near term. So mostly look close to home, relatively speaking, except for the Oshkosh. IPMS show I really look forward to that. I've only been to one other nationals, and it's amazing to see the work people out there. I have a small shopping list. I won't be entering anything in the contest. I'm not nearly that good. I do pretty good with models, but not nearly that good. And somebody, Philip, hey Phil, first year Oshkosh. Oh, fantastic. You should like it. I hope you like it. I always had a good time. Prepare to do a lot of walking around, bring comfortable shoes. And it's going to be kind of warm, so I guess comfortable shoes and a hat. I heard they're predicting a little bit of a heat wave, unfortunately. They had really nice weather temperatures last week, and then suddenly everything jumped up 10, 15 degrees. But still, it should be really nice. Lots of cool stuff. It's always different. So we'll see what's there. And I really haven't looked to see what kind of aircraft is coming in. They have warbirds and give rides. I might look into taking a ride in something as well. I've never actually ridden anything at Oshkosh, but I might do it this year. And of course, I'll be trying to help out at the model airplane section on occasion. I might doing. I was asked to help out, so I may do some flight instructing or what do you call it, flight line bossing or something. I'm not really sure. We'll see when I get there. But anyway, stay tuned. We'll give you updates if I can. So that's what's coming up. Thanks everybody for joining me in this live session. I haven't done a live show in a while, so I thought I'd kind of give you guys some updates on what's going on and see if you guys had any questions, any comments, any complaints, whatever. I see there's a good chunk of people in here. No, sort of a last second warning of sorts. Oh, I guess a couple of here. You see any video of Mike Fateh turbines explained on the way to Oshkosh? Explat? No, I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you have a link or something, please feel free to post it. I'm not quite sure. I don't know who Mike Fateh is, but I'm terrible at names. I've probably seen his videos, but I don't know. Maybe explain for us people don't get out much. Oh, exploded. Mike Fateh's turbine exploded on the way. Yeah, do you have a link or something? Hopefully you made it out okay. What kind of plane as well? I'm curious what he was flying. Fry shop in the fly market. With any details? Okay, Adam. Sure thing. Send me the gory details. My friend's shop on the fly market. Sure. Maybe you have something I can pick up on the way back. Oh, okay. Thank you. So I told you, I know the Draco. I don't know the airplane, but I don't know the guy's name. I have a fatal flaw, and I am terrible with people's names. You can tell me your name, and 2 seconds later, I'm like, and who are you again? So, yeah, okay. So, for some reason, I remember the weirdest things. So, yes, I know the Draco. So, it's turbine. So, this is the second plane he's lost then, because the original Draco crashed, right? He took off in some severe crosswinds or something. Okay, so it wasn't a Draco. So did it explode? It was a contained failure, and so just engine quit and he had a dead stick it somewhere. Hopefully, I'm not sure what turbulence race plane. I'm not sure what turbulence. Speaking of race planes, I was looking and going into. They have the Reno air races. Apparently, this is the last year they're going to have air races in Reno. And I was very seriously looking to go to watch them, but I don't know if I can make it or not. Work, believe it or not, work might get in the way. But that would have been cool to see air races. I've never seen any air races. I was really looking forward to that. Excuse me. Sorry. I've got to rehydrate myself after sweating it out earlier today. Gliding there. Okay. Thank you. Got some details. PD6 turbine exploded. Probably had some sort of blade failure or something. Gliding airport. All right. That's good. That's really good. There's a channel I watch. It's called the Blanca Lario. I think the guy's name is Juan something or another. And he's got some cool videos. And he does a lot of sort of on-the-fly crash investigations, or if something happens, he'll kind of tell you what he knows, and he doesn't try to speculate too much, but he'll say, hey, this is probably what happened or may have happened. It was recently had 2 videos of people dead sticking into the water, and he had some great stuff about dead sticking and what to do if you lose an engine. And he had a double header a couple days ago, Bonanza and something else. I forgot what it was. People ditching in Lake Tahoe, as a matter of fact. And I've been to Lake Tahoe, and it's a great place, but you're really high up, and so your density altitude is pretty high, and so your glide performance is crap, for lack of a better term. And so it was interesting watching these planes trying to glide in and kind of landing fairly hard and fast because they fall out of the air at a higher airspeed. But unfortunately, in both cases, I believe everybody survived, even though one plane flipped over. But he had some good stuff to remember if you're in an aircraft and you need to ditch in the water. A few things to remember for pilot and passenger. But anyways, I didn't mean to go too depressing, but it's good everybody made it out. Flying has its risks, although it's, I guess, arguably safer than driving, but still be prepared. When I did flight training, we were always preparing. One of the many things that got hammered into me is emergency procedures. Especially in gliders, you don't have an engine, so you're always falling out of the air unless you're being towed up. But we had a lot of emergency stuff, how to get out of spins, things to do with the rope brakes. You have issues with controls, landing off field, that kind of stuff. Being aware, situation awareness, being aware of your surroundings, looking out for other aircraft, and all kinds of stuff. So it was real interesting training, real good stuff to learn. I think pilot training helps you even when you're driving, because I think in a way you can learn to be a little more alert to your surroundings and things, and maybe even have emergency plans. I know it sounds weird when you're driving, but sometimes you think, sometimes I kind of, if I'm driving and I see somebody in an adjacent lane, I'm like, if I'm switching lanes, I make sure this person's not trying to switch lanes at the same time, or I try to be a little more predictive in my driving and have a better awareness around me best I can. So anyways, let's see, I had a few things to talk about. Not really some serious things. I guess we should watch the channel the last few days. I had to do a couple of new planes. I had the Flash. If you haven't seen it, this is pretty neat. This is the Flash pusher prop jet. It's been a while since I've had a pusher prop jet. Well, a new one. I still have a couple hanging around here. I've got one I scratch built. 2 of them I built. One's a kit that I converted, and one's a scratch built. So check that out if you've seen it. This plane turned out to be a little more fun than I thought it would be. I mean, it's pretty neat, and I had a good time with it, but it's really, really zippy. And after some thought, I think I will do a second video on it. Somebody in the comments had a couple of statements and some suggestions. So it's got a really beefy speed controller. It can handle up to 6S. So I think what I'll do is try a 6S in it, experiment with some props, and try to find my stupid flight data logger speedometer thing. I have a little GPS module thing I can stick in here to give you some speeds, and I've misplaced it. I need to find it so I can stick it in here and try and see if I can eke a little more speed out of it. I know it's fast enough as it is, but I'm just out of curiosity. And I mentioned in the video, it's got an FPV canopy. And poking around, I found my FPV setup. It's in, oops. I got a while ago, I 3D printed a flying wing, and it's all beat up now. I got to reprint it. I actually plan on redoing, oh, there it goes, redoing it, but it's got all my FPV gear in it. So I found my transmitter and camera and that kind of stuff. So I'm happy for that. Here's the antenna and the transmitter. So I've found my FPV stuff. So I might try an FPV and something high speed, which would be kind of fun, and hand launch. So I've got that. And let's see what else. You saw I had the MakeBot. Oh, have you plugged in? No, it's not plugged in. This little MakeBot kit. I still got the balancing. I need to take it apart and make my camera rig back with it. I know this was a little unusual for the channel, but I like STEM maker stuff, and I hope you. It's interesting. I like these videos. They don't get a whole lot of hits. I know this is maybe because people think I'm an RC modeler guy. So I don't know what your thoughts on, should I continue to do some offbeat stuff like these little robots and things like that, or you think that's a waste of my time? I don't know. But for now, I'll still continue to do it because I like this stuff and it's my channel. So, but you haven't checked it out, check it out. This is a great little, this will make a fantastic Christmas gift, I think, for somebody, a kid or even an adult that likes to tinker, because you can build these robots out of, you know, erector set parts, basically. Here's another piece I didn't use. And you can program them, and it's got a cell phone interface, that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. And so this one's still, this, I was actually surprised it worked at all. It was a little goofy, but if you check the video out, it actually bounces on these two wheels by itself. And you can just kind of, it was a little, it didn't drive around very fast, but I just, the fact that it worked at all. Somebody asked me a question. I see, whoops, wrong one. Any video review coming to Bamboo X1 Carbon 3D printer. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, if you go, I've talked about it a bit on one of my videos and on my social media stuff. I recently picked up the Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon 3D printer, and this has been a really interesting printer. To answer your question, yes, I think I'm going to do a review of it at some point. I wanted to sort of use it kind of for a while because it has a lot of features, and I wanted to get a good feel of it before I did a review, and of the good and the bad and the ugly and that sort of thing. So I have a really good, well-rounded review and experience with it. And I've actually been using it quite a bit lately, and it's been a real interesting road. But the first impression is it's actually a really, really nice printer. It's interesting that with these type of 3D printers, the FDM type, you think, oh, I've had a Prusa for quite some time, and I thought, that's pretty much as good as you're going to get. And then this Bamboo Lab company comes out, and it's just a step above that. It's just absolutely amazing, the features they've incorporated with it. It's like they scoured the net and found what all the best features that people would want in a 3D printer and put it in it. And so far, it's been, except for a few minor nitpicks and little minor things, it's been really, really good printer. And I've been able to, even the little minor issues, I've been able to resolve fairly quickly. So yeah, I was actually printing a few things lately. What did I do with it? Oh, it's not here. Somebody in my club asked me to print a bomb for them. So I printed a bomb. I was printing some, I'll talk about it in a minute, some servo mounts for another plane I have on the table here I'm building. And it's neat, this printer, if you buy the rolls of spool filament from the company, they have built-in RFID tags. So all you do is stick the filament in, and I have the multi-filament, they call it the AMS system. I forgot AMS means, an acronym, but it holds 4 rolls at a time, and you can actually hook up a second AMS. So you have 8 rolls that you can theoretically have at the same time, and you can select different colors. And I actually printed, where is it? It's over here. Do I have enough cord? Yeah, here it is. And it was neat. You're gonna laugh at this. So I printed a toilet. There was a reason why I printed a toilet, but don't worry about it too much. And I was able, you can just barely see it, but it's actually 2 colors. And so you import the model. I found this on Thingiverse, and I can select areas and select different colors, and it'll automatically change colors as it's printing. So it's really neat to be able to print multi-colors. One of the things I never really thought about it, but now that I can do it, it's come in real handy for several different projects. And he's got a little lid that pops up. That multicolor thing is fantastic. It's auto feed. You just basically select the colors in the slicer, which has a really nice slicer, and press the button and walk away. So yes, to answer that question, I think I will. But right now it's going to be my go-to printer for anything that I do personally and on the channel. I was working on some different things and drawing some things up for even a little plastic model I'm working on. I 3D printed some things. So yes, thank you for asking about that. If you're not familiar with the Bamboo Labs printer, I think I have links to it on my last couple of videos, and you can go to their website and watch the stuff. It's getting a lot of good reviews. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. That's a thing? plastic model building tips. Well, I never thought about that. There's so many out there. I don't know if I can add anything to the conversation. Well, I'll consider it. Or at least maybe I can talk about how I build some of my models, because I've been trying to work on some plastic models a little more lately. I've actually started working on a little Starship Enterprise. It's going to have lights in it and stuff. And so I've been keenly working on that in between working on the RC model stuff and everything else that gets in life. But okay, Adam, well, we shall see. That is a very good point. This he's referring to that the A1 Sky Raider during the Vietnam era. At one point, they actually put a toilet on one of the stores mounts and dropped it over in Vietnam. I forgot the whole story about it. I know Chris Wolf at the RC Geek, he printed out a toilet for his Sky Raider. I don't think it was quite this big. And I can't remember if he dropped it or not. So I guess that's a real crappy bomb, but get it. So look it up. There's a whole story behind it. I can't remember the details, but you know, it's all on the internet. I see something. What's on this? Oh, airplanes. Let's see. Hold on a second. I was out flying today. I have a few years ago, I did a video on the Elf, and I still have it. This is a discus launch glider. This is really, really nice. Comes out of Europe somewhere. I can't remember. Is it Czech Republic, maybe? And I've had a good time with it, and I had an incident with it where I went to the beach, and it ended up in the salt water. I thought I had dried it out, and then I launched it, and the radio quit. And it hit hard on its nose and broke the tail boom and a bunch of stuff. And I sort of put it on a back burner to repair it. And then I had another club mate who bought one and had me set it up. And I said, you know, I really miss my Elf. Let me go get the replacement boom and stuff and get it flying again. And I did. I got it flying again. And the past week or so, I got it finally flying. And so I went out. I noticed today the weather seemed relatively calm and it's kind of hot. I said, you know, it's might be a good day to check this out, see if I can do some thermaling. And I had a great day with it today. I actually had the best flight I ever had with this plane today. I was able to hand launch it. You got a little thing here on the side here. So you flip it up, and I was able to get a really good thermal out of it from a hand launch. To the point where I had specced it out. It was a little dot. I had to bring it back because I was going to lose sight of it. And I was able to tool around for a while. And I probably had a 10-15 minute flight with it, all on one launch. It was absolutely amazing. Everybody at the field was really impressed that I was able to fly for that long. So this is a really fantastic little guy. Really, really ups your game in flying gliders, because this, you know, when you hand launch it, it doesn't go up very high. You probably may, 100 feet, probably at the most. And so you got to work the lift. It's low, and really look out for it and work the best you can. But it's a fantastic model. It flies absolutely amazing. It's very light, very maneuverable. And yes, I found out today it will thermal. Pretty good. So I'm a happy puppy on that one. Except when I hit things and break the control surface like I did earlier today. So I got to re-glue it. So I don't know about you guys, but where I am, it's been absolutely, people are talking about how hot it is. Of course, it's summer, so it's going to get hot. But we had an indoor fly-in yesterday. And I went and flew a few things inside. I had a little helicopter. And there was a guy selling a bunch of airplanes. I was a little late, so I missed some of the really good stuff. But I picked up a couple of neat things. You saw one in my thumbnail. And one of them was this little Albatross indoor flyer or calm weather flyer. I thought it was really neat, though it's not quite correct. It's supposed to, I think the structure is supposed to be in a V shape, not double like that. But it's got some nice details on it. It's got engine detail. There's a pilot. It's made of some sort of thin foam, maybe like a Depron or something. He's got a lot of details in it. there was some gentleman that had passed away, and they were kind of selling off some of his planes. It's neat because it came with some electronics, and it's got a motor and 2 linear servos. In fact, I got 2 planes. I got this and a Bonanza, which I thought was kind of neat. Same thing. It's set up with a single box. The only thing is I don't know the receivers. I tried binding them with my Spectrum, and that didn't work. This one kind of looks like an SLT as I was thinking about it, so it might be an SLT format. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me. Got 2 little servos. They're not even linear servos. So I think I'm going to try to bind it with my high-tech radio. It's just SLT format. Let's go and see if I can get a light. But they were selling them for a really good price, so I couldn't pass them up. Excuse me for a second while I find the flashlight. There we go. You see that? You can see the little, it's a circuit board, receiver, servo, 2 servos, and a speed controller for the motor. But anyways, that was a really good find. Oops, I want to rotate. And it's nice to fly inside and get away from the heat. I live in Texas, so it's just hot in the summer. It's always hot in the summer. And humid. And what else? Another thing is on the bench is you can see the orange, blue, and white plane behind me. That is the Seagull Models Cessna 188. 188? Yeah, 188 Ag Wagon from Legend Hobby. And so that's another upcoming review I will be doing. I'm working on it, tweaking it a little bit, got the engine installed, and gone pretty far with it, but it still needs some things worked out. Just slow build, slow because of me, not because of the plane. But it'll have some extra features on it that are going to be really cool. So trying to get that set up. So this one's going to take me a little longer than usual to set up, simply because some of the things I'm going to be doing with it. So you can kind of see the wings are over here somewhere. It's big. It's like 90-inch, if I remember correctly. Here's one of the wings. And the keen eye will note that it's got a simulated spray bar on it. Since it's an ag wagon, they use them to spray as a crop duster. So you got optional spray bars you can put on the wings, which is pretty neat. So it should look pretty cool in the air, flying around. And you got your ailerons and flaps. So it should be a fun plane to fly. It should be pretty neat once it's up and running. So so look for that sometime in the not too distant future on the channel. What else? I see some people have hello, old man from Norway. Common hobbyists. Hey, we're all part of the Brotherhood of Modelers. You let the cat out of the bag. I wasn't going to mention anything, but yes, that is actually my intention. So there is. Greg, you know me too well. Actually, I'll come over and get it. There is. We'll move some stuff over. So I have 2 fuel tanks, as a matter of fact. There is, you got the fuel tank and a smoke tank. So this will have a smoke system on it. And my intention is indeed to feed the smoke through the spray bars to do a simulated crop duster. So hopefully that works out. It looks like it will. All the stuff is hollow. The spray bar is hollow. It's just extruded aluminum. It looks like the little spray nozzle things are also either they are hollow or I can drill them out. And I've got the pump, if you can see it. I just mounted a fuel pump earlier today. There's a fuel pump not fuel pump, smoke pump. There's a smoke pump here on the firewall. So I've got all the guts in it to do the smoke system. I just need to add the nozzle to the muffler. I don't have that yet. That's on order. So it'll feed. If you're not familiar with the spray smoke system in model airplanes, there's a special smoke fluid. I have some on the floor over there somewhere. There's a special smoke fluid oil that it's pumped into the muffler, and the heat from the exhaust basically it's atomized, and it sort of just turns into this white puffy smoke. I'm not sure the exact whole process. I'm not sure if it's burning or it's just a catalytic process. I'm not really sure, but you just spray this fluid into your muffler, and the heat from the exhaust produces lots of smoke, and it's pretty neat. I have that system in. You can just barely see it. I have a D3A Val Japanese dive bomber. It has a smoke system in it as well, and that's a lot of fun because you're flying around, especially at warbird events. It's a Val Japanese plane, and so when I've got a lot of Allied aircraft flying around me, Corsairs and stuff like that, need to turn on the smoke. Yeah, I'm hit, Charlie, I'm hit. And so it adds a little bit of excitement to it. So smoke system is really cool. It's one of those things that it's kind of difficult to do with electrics, unfortunately. You can get smoke bomb kind of things, but one advantage of gas powered is smoke systems. So look for that. Hopefully that'll all work out and make an exciting video. What else I want to talk about? Guys, you're welcome to ask any questions in the chat if you need to. I see a bunch of people listening in. Oh, there was one thing I had an idea. I don't know if I was going to do a separate video. Oh, sorry, get a message. Sorry, we're going to look at my phone. I had some notes. Come on, where am I? Hit the X. Yes, I'm doing things at the last second. All right, here we go. All right. Wow. Do you have a dream RC model you always wanted? I have several. I've had a couple. I have a couple that I have several. I probably have maybe half a dozen really dream models, and I have a couple I don't have, and there's a couple I do have that I've either never spoken about or haven't gotten around to working on. I have one over there that I picked up at a estate sale that I always thought was cool. I don't know if that's really a dream model, but I do have one dream model, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a secret for now. But I've been thinking about it lately, and I really need to get it out and see if I can get it flying. And it is absolutely awesome. And that's all I'll say. It's not something you see every day or ever. So yes, but I've got 2 or 3 dream models that that either I like or I pick up. One of my favorite models is the what is it called? Man, we're getting Aero Commander. That's it. The twin engine Aero Commander. I always loved that plane, and I built several incarnations of it. And I built a couple of 049 versions, electric versions. I have a kit for mid-size version. And some years ago, I always wanted a big one, and I finally found the old Britty models one. So I have one of those that one day I'm going to finish up, and that's one of my favorite aircraft. So I'll tell you one, and that was it. The other one, Ancient Chinese Secret for now. Well, that's interesting. RC car reviews. So I've done some in the past. If you look on my channel, look in the video section there, I have actually done some RC car reviews. And I'd like to, maybe do some in the future. I like RC cars. That's for early, when I was a kid, I actually was pretty heavily into RC cars. never was big into racing. I'm not that competitive by my nature. I did a few races and actually won an award or two, but I just like just playing with stuff. And my first hobby quality RC something was a car before I got into airplanes and boats and stuff. Uh, so yeah, I just really haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to do RC car stuff, but I would like to. Um, there was, I noticed there's a new low seed car came out that I thought was kind of neat. Let me see if I can look it up. Let's see. Oh, the Baja? Hold on a second. I'm looking something up. There's a couple cool stuff out there. Let's see, Axial has a new something. Sorry, internet slow. Sorry, queuing up a few things. Actually, might be a good segue into something. I've kind of been out of the RC cars. I'm just kind of dabbling on the corners a little bit. So I'm not sure. There's so many different, when I was in RC cars, you basically had your sport buggy stuff on road and maybe monster trucks. That's kind of it. Now we've got little ones, rock crawlers, all kinds of interesting things. Let's see if I can. I just saw this was announced. Am I sharing this? I don't know what I'm sharing. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a little Chevy truck, 4x4 ready to run. That reminds me, one of the coolest things I did review was a couple of years ago or so, a 6-wheeled rock crawler. And that thing was just awesome. That was, I had borrowed it from somebody and then we do a review on it. And it was really neat. It looked cool because it had 6 wheels. And the thing was almost unstoppable. It would climb walls practically. It was really, really neat. It had lights on it and that kind of stuff. And it reminded me, I have one thing I was going to work on restoring. I might have talked about it in the past. Give me a second to go grab it. Go. Really need to work on it because it's getting semi-buried now under other stuff. Come here. There we go. Because I do occasionally go out to the beach, and I like to take an RC car with me. And so I had reviewed, what was it called? The Rarlo something. I can't remember the name of it. And it's a really good beach runner. Let me turn this off. Oh, here. There we go. So anybody recognize this? Give me a couple of seconds. I might have talked about it before. I picked this up at a swap meet, and I saw it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh man, this is neat." Hopefully he's got a good price on it. And he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. And in the slow process of getting it back running, it's not quite running. It's mostly good, but I need to go through it. And there's a few parts that needed replacing, and the wheels are a little off. So I was slowly grabbing parts. Unfortunately, due to its vintage, some parts need to come off of eBay. Although I think they had reissued it fairly recently. So this is not the reissue. This is a original, and it's actually had a storied history. It came from somewhere in South America, and a person had moved to the U.S. and brought it with him and decided he wasn't going to use it anymore. But if you don't know what it is, this is a a Tamiya. I think this is the Baja Buggy. Is this the Baja Buggy or the? I think it's just the Baja Buggy. This is vintage. This is probably 40 years old. This is one of the early Tamiya cars that they came out with, and it's an interesting design. I think the body can come off. Yeah, there it goes. So it's got a hard shell, not the thin Lexan. This is like ABS plastic hard shell. These things weren't really for racing per se. Maybe at the time they were, but they're kind of heavy and they're not very fast. And they don't have some of the advanced features that you see nowadays. For example, there's no differential. It's just a straight drive in the back. So you drive it on the road, you're just going to flip over and stuff. But out on the beach and stuff, it's great, it's fantastic. It does have a suspension. It's got a kind of a working shocks in the front and rear. But what's interesting is it's got metal framework in the back, metal frame and part hybrid metal and fiberglass. What was really neat about these, if you set them up correctly, this one's got some big holes and you can't do it, but it had this enclosed chassis where all the electronics were enclosed with rubber seals for the servos and the switch and stuff. And so you could literally drive this underwater in salt water and not have anything bad happen to it. I mean, sure, you probably want to rinse it off with the bearings and stuff, but it was basically a water sealed compartment. So it had videos of them driving through waters and streams and things like that and out on the beach. And so it was meant to be really go through some harsh environments. And they made a couple different ones of these. One's called the Baja Buggy, one's called, the name eludes me. But, you know, new in a box, these things are actually really quite valuable. But I always wanted one. I saw one saw videos of it at the hobby shop many years ago. So maybe one day I'll get this running and might do a quick video on it or something like that. But anyways, I think you might find that interesting. Again, as time allows. There. Oh, I get working lights for it. So I was thinking about doing something a little different, and that I would kind of go over and talk about a few things I saw past couple of weeks or so out on the interwebs. Maybe you guys might have some opinions on. If I can pull up my list here. Let's see, the Ghost. Motorworks. So sorry, pulling on what page? Come on, here we go. These are in no particular order and just things I just saw on the interwebs. These are unsolicited things. Let me go do a percent. And share screen. All right. So Old School Model Works is a company that makes laser cut RC kits, like they say. And they came up with a new plane called the Ghost. And well, I thought this was interesting. It basically looks sort of a trainer, advanced trainer. I thought this might make a really good first balsa wood kit for somebody. I've built several Old School Model Works aircraft. I built the 109 and the, give me a second to remember what it's called, Javelin, that's it. And both were reviews for Model Aviation Magazine. And if you go over to their YouTube page, and you can see my video reviews, and there's a written review that accompanies it. So sorry, having some different. So that was interesting. I mean, it's probably not the most exciting plane in the world, but I think if you ever wanted to build a kit of something, it's probably make a really good first kit to build. It's got simple slab sides, flat bottom wing, something look easy to fly. You can power it with a glow engine. I think there's an electric. Yeah, there's an electric version as well. It got a little snazzy paint scheme on that one. It's probably something to fly in a, I don't know what they're recommending, 4S maybe. Yeah, 3 to 4S. LiPo, 400 watts. So it's not terribly powerful setup that you need. You can see the construction is all laser cut. Everything slides in. They're usually really, really well engineered kits. Something easy to cover. There's no compound curves or anything like that. Just slab-sided sheets. Be a really cool project. So that popped up. Oh, it's got a some sort of bomb bay. That's what it was. I knew there was something that was neat about it. So if you look over here on the right, you got a bomb drop, some sort, servo-actuated bomb drop. So you can drop things out of the bay, candy, tactical nukes, whatever. Oh, it includes a parachute action figure. Was that nice of them? Ah, that's pretty neat. The Old School Model Works. So give it oldschoolmodelworks.com Ghost. I'll put a copy in the link in the chat here. Give them a try. They got a whole bunch of designs. That's not the only one. I just noticed that was new. But if you're ever hankering to build a balsa kit, I guess you go to our kits. Let's see if that works. Oh, RC kits? Oh, I guess it changed. They got a whole bunch of stuff. They got a flying wing thing, a tailless, some sport planes. They got a little Chaos 60, which is also a very nice flying model. Here's a Javelin. A Minuet. Looks like a bit of like a Eindecker. Not Eindecker. Valeriat. Excuse me. Valeriat. I think somebody in the chat mentioned the Mambo. There's a Mambo. The biplanes, all kinds of stuff. Here's the 109. Oh, that's a 150. Here's the 109 that I built. That was a fun build. Great flying aircraft, glider. So check them out. And speaking of bomb drop, let me change channels here for a second and go to another one. Come on, 3, 2, 1. Is it sharing? It's sharing. Okay. Over on the Academy Model Aeronautics YouTube page, they just posted the video that I did of the Maxi Lift. And so the Maxi Lift, this is the review. And the no. Stop, be quiet. Maxi Lift, you can watch it later, but one of the things it has is a bomb drop as well, a larger one than you probably saw in the other one. And this was neat. I've actually dropped some stuff out of it. It's got a glider hitch. So there's I did a review of it for Model Aviation Magazine. Oh, there's a few comments there. I always like to look at the comments. So you can check that out if you want. If you're in America and a member of the AMA, it's in the upcoming issue, my written review. And that was a neat plane. I actually flew it at Joe Nowell, was the first few flights. And so some of the video you see is from, no, some of the still pictures in the magazine are from Joe Nowell. The video is from local stuff. And it's a neat plane, a lot of fun to fly. I even used it to tow up a glider, and you'll see that in the video as well. Somebody says about the Mamba. Covering, so it's been sitting for several years. Just cover it. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Look on YouTube. Do some good videos for covering. I know covering might seem tedious to some people. The best thing is choose a simple paint scheme. Don't go wild. Just choose 1 or 2 colors and make it easy on yourself. Get a good heat gun. Don't use a hair dryer. Use a heat gun and an iron, not a clothes iron. Get a regular covering iron. Get the right tools and some sharp razors and just go at it. Just do it. Don't rush it. Go in your workshop or wherever. Put on some music or YouTube or something and just go at it. And you call itself done. There was something else I was gonna talk about. Oh, yeah. See if I can find that. Take that off and take that off. We had, let's see if I can find it. See if I can find it. This was on their social media stuff. And see if I can find it. Their Facebooking. No, I don't want to do that. Oh, maybe I did. I'm not. I gotta look on Facebook. Yeah. I'm not signed in, so it looks weird. But hopefully I can find what I'm looking for. Just give me a moment. I haven't linked it because I'm not trying to embarrass myself. There's a bunch of stuff. Let's go. This is June. We're back too far. I'm sorry, I thought it would be easier to find in this. Give me a second. If I had thought about it, I should have preloaded it. Arg, it's not in here. Let me try another. Try roundabout way of doing it. Why does it have to be so hard? I don't want to log in. Oh, why does it have words? Maybe this will work. Ah, okay. I found it finally. Be quiet, phone. Okay. I finally found it. I present this as a interesting curiosity. Somebody had a question. Going SIG. So last I heard, SIG was still in business, but they had moved to smaller facilities, and they were still going to produce kits and wood, and that's the last I heard. And that was maybe 6 months ago. And they had something that popped up where the building they were in was being sold or something like that, and people were like, "Wait, what's going on with SIG?" And then somewhere posted somewhere because they changed owners once or twice recently. And the last I heard was they're still restructuring and reorganizing, but I don't have any further updates from that. And I don't have anything more recent than about 6 months ago. If anybody in the chat knows, by all means, let us out. Because I've had long history with SIG. I've built some SIG kits over the years, over the decades. A few ones, and I have one already. I have their JU 188. One of these days, I want to build. I picked up a while ago. They have some classic stuff. All right, let me present this. Share screen. Okay, so if you saw, one of my previous videos, I took a tour of Legend Hobby, and I got a nice thing of their factory that they took me around. I don't know if you can see this picture. And so I actually met all three of these people. The gentleman on the left is, I'm trying to remember the names. Give me a second. Min, if I remember correctly, this is Min. He's one of their designers and pilots. And this is Win, the kind of the CEO. And I forgot this gentleman's name on the right. I wish I remember his name. Another pilot, very good pilot. And one of the things I mentioned to him says, did you guys ever consider making a wood, since you guys are so expert in wood aircraft and stuff, ever consider making a wood jet, EDF. There was no jets in their lineup. And they kind of gave me a non-committal answer. It's like, no, we're not really doing any jets yet or something like that. And then lo and behold, like a week or two ago, they produced this picture and said, oh yeah, we're making a jet. Oh, like, So I wonder, I won't claim credit, but I wonder if my poking around that helped to make a decision to make a jet. This is a 90 millimeter, I think it's a Viper jet, something like a Viper jet. 90 millimeter, looks really neat. Probably a small picture. This is on their Facebook page. No details on it other than it has retracts, and it'll be all wood. There's not a whole lot of wood EDFs or even regular jets. A lot of it's either composite or foam. So it's neat to see that, and hopefully it'll be at a good price point, and hopefully it should fly well. I personally like 90 mils. So when you go to 90 mils, you're talking 6 cell minimum, probably 8 cell to really get some good performance out of it. And I've gone up to 10 cell in some of my 90 mil EDFs. In fact, the BD5 I mentioned earlier is a 90 mil with a 10 cell, and the thing flies great, has a wing loading of a tank. It falls. You need to fly it on the wing, but it's a very efficient setup, and it sounds fantastic. So I thought that as a curiosity that they did that. So I have no ETA when it's going to be done, so you're probably not going to see it until at this point next year, probably after they test fly it and work out any bugs and get it to market, and the logistics of getting it from there to Europe and stateside. But keep an eye out on that. Let's see, anything else I want to talk about? I'm open to suggestions. I think that was mostly it. Show you a new video. People have asked me about stuff, cars. Just as a reminder that, if you're new to the channel, yes, it's. I knew that when I got it. It's a BD5, so it already has a very small wingspan, and I'm loading it up with batteries. But I kind of had to do it to get it to balance because the motor is sort of far back on the behind the wings, so it's naturally a little bit tail heavy unless I load it with some batteries. And I think I calculated the wingspan. The wing loading was like 50 something ounces a square foot, or something like that. It was 40 or 50. It's pretty heavy, but it flew fine as long as it stayed under power. It actually flew better than it should have, and it sounded like a turbine. Every time I flew it, people were like, "Is that a turbine?" Like, no, it's electric. So it looks like a good airframe that you can really load it with some batteries and really get some good power out of it. So anyways, I was saying, I want to go back to the YouTubing. YouTubing, there we go. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Now, if you've been to the channel, if you're new to the channel, you might want to check out, go to HobbyView or at HobbyView to go to the main drop point of my channel. There you go, in the chat. But I just want to say, go click on videos and scroll down a bit. You might find something interesting. I've got some stuff maybe a little bit older, but it might be interesting that for if you've got a plane that you were considering, or something you find at a swap meet. Some planes are no longer, if you go back a few years, no longer made or in production. Most of the stuff is still in production. I got some 3D printed stuff, back to the Shock Cub, E-Flight stuff, the Hangar 9 Hellcat. I don't think they're selling that anymore, unfortunately. Testing glues, the Starbond glue guys, plastic model stuff, IPMS. When I scratch built a QT, I had a 2-part video on that. All balsa, I laser cut. There's a picture of the laser cutter. My parts and built it. F4 Phantom, I almost crashed. My Commander, where I had an incident. My K9 replica that I built. All kinds of stuff. There's a XP70 that I flew. This is no longer made. I still have this model because it's such a cool model. Another kit I built. My 5 Fit series I tried for a little bit for a while and I kind of abandoned. Maybe I might try that again. So anyways, some pictures when I went to England and went to an air show. Yeah, you might find some stuff just interesting back in the old history. The Hollywood, Hollywood, what do you call it? Halloween special I did for somewhere. Some of my video productions may not be that great going too far back. But anyways, just thought I'd mention that, you know. Check out the archive. I got a lot of videos. So I should mention that I am working on some things, some changes to the channel. Hopefully I can do relatively soon. That's all I'll say, but I am looking to make a few changes to the channel a little bit that hopefully you guys will like. And I'm really looking forward to it. And just some things I'm working on in the background. And hopefully I'll get it done before the summer's over. There's seagull models. That actually looks like the airfield I was at. All right, so, oh, that's off. Looks like it popped off. Let's see what I have. Somebody says, so close to getting Gilmore because I've done for perestroika. Perestroika. I'm not familiar with that, other than the Russian term, which means, is it freedom or openness? Or something like that. It's a Russian term, but I guess perestroika? Anybody know what that is? Oops. 52Ks. Interesting. Oh, well, whatever fits your fancy. Oh, okay, Yak 11. Okay, gotcha. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's just as cool. The more modern racer, so to speak. Well, let's see what I have. I have one of the Yaks. I can't remember if it's a Yak 11 or not. Looking it up. Okay, yeah, it's not the Yak 11. Yak 7, maybe? Look at the Yak 7. No, not the Yak 7 either. Yak the Yak, don't come back. All right, anyways. Yeah. I have one of the Yak Reno racers. It's the one with the radial engine that I picked up at a swap meet. I need to get it finished. I finally have the pieces. In fact, it's right here for the one of the Reno racers. I was missing the wing tube, and I finally got the wing tube, but I haven't had a chance to finish it up, get it ready. It'll be nice. It'll be electric with, I think, an 8-cell on it. Oh, that reminds me. I need more batteries. This was my 8-cell. It was in a crash, so I needed to reorder some 8-cell batteries. Someone's asking me about the. Do I have a C-130? I do not. I do not. I wish I kind of did, but no, unfortunately, don't have a C-130. Welcome to send one to me. I know there's somebody has one recently. But you need to have one. You could, especially when it has a door in the back. You fly around, drop things out the back. That would be a whole lot of fun to do. There's been several. Somebody makes one now, and I can't remember who it is. Well, somebody in my club has one, but I have yet to see it. I really wanted to see it. Oh, hey, Tony. Good to see you. All right, trying to think if there's anything else on my mind I wanted to get off. As a reminder, if you're just joining, I will be in Oshkosh later this week, and AMA will have an area for flying model airplanes in the afternoons after they do finish flying the full-scale stuff. So if you're going to Oshkosh, you're welcome to. Oh, here's my bomb. Oh, different bomb. Welcome to stop by. Maybe get your hand, try a hand at an airplane and say hello. I'll be there with my RC Roundtable buddy Lee and Terry. We might do a show at the RC Roundtable about it, and hopefully things will go really well. Should be, in the afternoon should be cooler. Everything's going to be kind of warm. And again, also the IPMS Nationals. This is the Plastic Modeler Society in just outside of San Antonio, if I remember correctly, just north of San Antonio. I'll be there the following week, also hanging around, hopefully shooting some video, gawking at some scale models. This is plastic scale models, and there's going to be a whole bunch of vendors there, so hopefully I get some cool stuff. Like I said, I had a short, dropped something, wish list of some stuff I'm looking for in the plastic model arena. Not too much, because I've already got too much stuff, but I had a couple of things that were just announced. I thought, oh man, if I see one of theirs, it'd be hard pressed for me not to buy it. What else am I thinking? So, because I had a good time at Joe Now a couple months ago, meeting a few people. People came up to me, recognized me. It's weird being recognized at FlyIn's now. There is a great Brian Phillips. I met him, the Brian Phillips channel, and he that guy's a character. And on one of his videos at Joe Now, we did a little skit where he meets me, and we had an interesting conversation. So it's a lot of fun meeting you guys out there. It doesn't look like I'll be at any big fly-ins across the country. I'll be at a few local ones, but nothing probably till next year, except for the bomber field one. It's big. I'm not sure what will happen next year. Me and the guys, we've been talking about some stuff. I'd like to go back to Ceph in Georgia. I've been there in probably good 15 years. Lee was there this year. I'd like to check it out. And I don't know what else. There's some other ones I've never been to. Some stuff out west. We'll see how next year goes. Of course, the wife was talking about going somewhere that involves another long plane ride, so that might get in the way. But we'll see. I'll take each year as I can at a time. In the meantime, I'll be here doing stuff, working on my other planes, doing things. I got some other projects I wanted to work on. 10th year flight. Oh, really? Adam's talking about Flight Fest. Maybe Adam. Do you know what month that is? Just out of curiosity. 10th year anniversary. Flight Fest. We had Flight Fest here in Texas a few years ago before they bought their own field, and I had a lot of fun, despite having a midair on the ground. It took out one of my planes, but it was a really, really entertaining event, and I did have a good time. It's a unique event too. It was really different than any other flights I went to. I know my buddy Terry has been to it. I think maybe Lee too, Roundtable. So might consider doing that. But I don't remember what time of year they have it. It's one event that don't take a plane that you like or that you care about. How about that? Don't take anything that you care about, because there's a good chance. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know it was June. I don't get out much. All right. So next year, June. All right. All right. I'll try to pencil it in, see how that works out. Get a trip up north. At least in June, I like to go up north in the summer, so that's kind of nice. Get out of the heat here in Texas. And everybody else, you heard it, 10th year of Flight Fest. Hopefully they'll do something special for 10th year anniversary. All right. Anything else I want to I think I'm about done. Unless you guys something I need to talk about. I think I hit all my salient points in my notes. You heard about the stuff I'm working on. Trying to think of anything else. We've kind of been in and out lately. Been busy with some stuff. Yeah, I think I mentioned anything else I want to talk about. Looking around, checking things twice. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hope you guys have had a good weekend. Maybe do some flying. I did some flying both days, surprisingly. And I was talking about earlier, I flew my Elf glider, had a fantastic flight with it, best flight I ever had. Yes, now I've seen it before, but I missed the whole X-Planes area. So I would love to go up there again and just hang out in the X-Plane area and other things. Because I was in Ohio for something. And I understand they move things around because the last time, and the reason why I missed the X-Plane area is because it wasn't easy to get to. And I looked around and I thought I'd seen everything, and I realized, hey, wait a minute, there's a bunch of X-Planes here. And what is XB-70? And I asked them and said, oh, yeah, you got to go take a bus and go over to this different building, and it's only certain scheduled times. And like, I understand it's a little different now, so it's easier to see. So definitely on my bucket list again. Greg, all right, thanks for joining in. I will see you later. Thanks so much. I'll buzz you later. I think there's something I was looking for you. So have a good weekend. So I think that is pretty much it. I can't think of anything else I can think of. If you've never been to the Air Force Museum, Adam was talking about the Air Force Museum. That is absolutely fantastic museum. You really can't. I tried to see everything in a day, and I thought I did, and I totally missed a complete building. So it really takes you a day and a half to really see it. And at one point, Radical RC was like right across the street. I don't know if it's still there or not, but that was a neat hobby store. I poked my head in there. There was really a lot of cool stuff in there. So it was really, really good. So the receiver I'm using is a real basic one, so I didn't have the variometer on it. But using my calibrated eyeballs, it looked at about, I think at one point, I probably peaked out at about 600 feet, roughly. And for the Elf glider, if you're not familiar with the Elf, that's pretty far because it's not very big. This thing has got, this is the wingspan. Here's my arm. And so we were talking 30 something, maybe 40-inch wingspan. I got to look it up. So I even put a little white stripe on it because it's sometimes a little hard to see. So it's not very big. So I dotted it. Basically it was a speck. And I could have gone further, but I had to stop and come back because it was like, there was a couple times in the turn where I lost sight of it. I literally couldn't see it. I just had to keep turning it and bringing it back. It was coming back, and the profile just half disappeared. So I was really, really impressed that I was able to thermal it and get a pretty high. So that was a rough guess. So it may not sound that high, but for this size glider, from a hand launch, that tops out at about 50, 100 feet. That's a big error range. That was really good. I was really happy with myself working out. And I think what helped too was I went to an F5J competition about a month or so ago, and it was a local club was having, this is a limited motor run thermaling glider competition that was really neat to watch. So I just kind of paid attention to how they flew, and I realized, I think my technique is a little bit off in trying to thermal. And so watching them, and I tried to apply some things I learned, and I think it worked out. And then I was able to, it was a good day too today to fly, but I think I was able to kind of better sniff out and work the thermals. And there were several launches where I was working zero sync, or I found a little bit of lift. And one launch, I was actually doing really good until I flew into the sun, and I had to bail because I was like, I'm gonna go blind. And so, and doing that, I popped out of the thermal. And then I think the next launch or two I was able to hit core, a really good one, and just spec'd it out. So it'll be nice. I need to look. I'm using, don't tell anybody, but I'm using a third-party receiver in this. It's not a Spectrum. It's something cheap. But I need to see. I think I did that because at the time, I think Spectrum didn't have a low-voltage receiver. So I'm only using, I don't know where the battery went. Oh, it's over here. Because this plane is so small, I have to use, I pulled off the thing, a single cell battery. So I'm using an old Helimax battery, single cell battery that fits right in the front. And so it's neat that the servos, I think these are diamond servos, and the receiver will work down to 3.5 volts, something like that. So it all works on 3.5 to 4 volts. And so that's really neat. And I think maybe you guys can correct me. At the time, Spectrum didn't have any receivers that worked that low voltage. I need to double check to see if they have one. I used to use my High-Tech. The High-Tech was nice because it had built-in telemetry with the little receiver I was using. But now I think they may have Spectrum may have a receiver that's small, a little 4-channel or something, that I can find a way to squeeze in there, and I can have some telemetry. So I can have voltage, battery voltage, and a variometer, so I know the altitude, and it can tell me if I'm climbing or diving, that kind of stuff. So that'd be pretty neat. I really need to do that. I just haven't gotten around to it to do some research, because it's been sitting broken forever. Literally, probably a couple of years, it's been sitting broken. I just got it fixed like last week, so I didn't really think about doing it. And so now that it's flying good and flying again, I'm going to go see if I can upgrade the electronics on it. But I was just happy that I was able to, because I'm usually terrible at finding thermals in models. I do a lot better in the full scale stuff. And I have a larger hand launch one, and I've got the Mini MOA, which I did a review on, and I will probably fly that later this year with my tow plane. Okay, so you're answering yes. Okay, this is the Air Force Museum. Thank you. I thought I heard they had changed it up, so now you don't have to go across the runway or across the airport to find it. So definitely on my bucket list is to go back to the Air Force Museum and check out all the cool X-plane stuff. The coolest stuff there, I missed it. Very warning when you find a thermal. I lost my radar XL to getting into 1,600, 1,500 feet. Panicking to get into RSI warning at crash. Oh, yeah. I understand. I heard the best thing to do is just spin it back down if you don't have any. If it's a Radian, it doesn't have spoilers. So yeah, just put it into a spin and get it back down, or at least start to spin. And that way, if you do lose signal, it has everything's locked into that position, and it'll spin down. And by the time you'll get to lower altitude, you should pick up the signal again. But sorry to hear that you lost it. That happens. I've heard that. I've known people who lost their planes, and I was a little bit worried too that I might lose the ELF if either it got away from me or I lost sight of it. So I thought I'd bring it back. It would be nice to have, some of the I don't know if it's the E-Flight or the Fly Zone planes have the return to home. It'd be nice to have that in the glider, that if you lose radio signal, it does a return to home kind of thing. Or at least comes back to where it thinks you launched, and then orbits, and then does a slow descent or something like that. But I have a Radian. I don't think it's the XL. It's sitting up here. Just a Radian Pro, not the XL. And I'll be danged if that's a good flying glider. It's a motor glider, and it's a bare Radian. It's not the lighted one. And I got it from a buddy, and it flies a lot better than I thought it would. It's like, it's a foamy glider. I'll give it a shot, but didn't think it's all that great. But it flew really good, and it's a really good. I think it's probably the best just all around foamy sport glider you can get. I think of the ones I've flown. It's light enough to fly thermals. It has flaps, so you can, if you get into a thermal, drop just a touch of flaps on it, and kind of it's maneuverable enough to orbit around. I think the only thing is make sure you reinforce the tail. I think the tail is a little bit bendy. I think they have things you can do that reinforce a little bit, but really, really good plane. But I understand, like you said, they don't make just a regular Radian Pro. It's now the Night Radians. And those have been criticized for being a little on the heavy side. Still a nice flying model, but it would be nice to have the clean version, or the lightweight version, whatever you want to call it. But if you never tried gliders, they're a lot of fun. I mean, you might think they're kind of boring, but there's a certain skill to flying them, trying to sniff out thermals, trying to help do coordinated turns. They're not really a yank and blink model. You really got to fly them on the wing, and there's techniques of if you're in a thermal, you're not in a thermal, looking at your surroundings, and just nice, relaxing. There's a sort of accomplishment if you can stay up without using the motor, if it has one, or without a motor at all. You have to hand launch it, bungee launch, winch launch, tow launch. Tows are a lot of fun. Everybody needs to tow up a glider or do a glider tow at some point in their modeling experience. Trying to fly coordinated with somebody else in the plane, it's a real kick in the pants. And I learned to fly. I taught myself to fly on a glider. I built a channel lady from a kit, and because I kept crashing planes, I taught myself, because I was kind of hard-headed. I didn't go to a club. I just said, I'm going to a park. I know how airplanes fly. I'll just fly it. And after smacking all my planes into the ground in quick succession, I just said, well, okay, maybe I'll start something much slower and simpler. So I built a glider, and I threw it off a small hill, and it survived. I got good enough to fly that around. I put a power pod on it, flew it around, snapped the wings off of it, and then I got a regular plane, and then it flew really good. So don't be afraid to try a glider if you haven't. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining me. I think I'm going to go and grab some munchies. I haven't had dinner yet. It's great, everybody who joined in. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who has patronated, who's joined up and watched my videos. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so you get any notifications. Like I said, hopefully I might try to do some live stuff here or there out at Oshkosh this coming week. And I really appreciate everybody. I kind of started this channel on a whim. Never really thought I'd start a YouTube channel. I had no interest of it, but circumstances required me to start a channel for some things. And next thing I know, it's doing relatively well. So I really appreciate everybody that enjoys my particular type of production. I don't claim to be any great production quality. I'm surprised that I have as many hits as I do. But I see a few people saying things. Thank you so much. I'm really honored that you say that. I do these videos. I'm wondering, does anybody even like this? And sometimes editing takes quite a while. I don't know if you ever do your own videos, but editing is kind of a pain. I try to streamline as much as I can, but because just the way I like to do things, I have my own way that I want to present, and it requires a bit of editing, or sometimes a bit of editing. And so I really appreciate you all. And like I said, when I was at Joe Now, I had quite a few people come up to me who recognized me, and it's just amazing that that there's people out there that appreciates the things that you do, and very much appreciate it. And it's great talking. I always like talking to other hobbyists. I used to do that a lot. And one of the things when I was a kid, I worked at a hobby shop, and one of the greatest things was just the people that came in. I always liked talking to them, seeing what they're working on. It was I like the hobby. I like the hobbyists. So, anyways, that's enough of me waxing lyrical. I'm glad that I make you smile. Then my job is done. On that note, I'll make you smile even more because I'm going to end this broadcast, and you don't have to gnaw your arm off to escape my droning on. Thanks for everything, guys. Look forward to some more stuff. Hopefully, I get this Cessna done at some point in the near term. And I'm not sure what my next video will be, but I'm going to be away doing various things for a couple of weeks off and on, so I probably won't have a whole lot of time. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere, and stay tuned. Stand by for action, as they say. All right, everybody have a good weekend. Stay out of trouble, and don't fly like I do.